Senator Cotton.
Mr. Chairman, before we start this questioning, right before the break, I asked the chairman about Senator Hirono had referenced 5 probation reports that were not in the record. I asked the chairman whether the Democrats had access to information about Judge Jackson's judicial record that Republicans did not. You did not answer me at the time, but as we returned...
I can give you an answer.
Okay, well, hold on. Let me finish my question. When we returned and when we walked in, each of the Republicans was handed this piece of paper, which is the first time any of us have ever seen, which is a chart of probation recommendations. We were just told that the White House gave it to Democrats earlier today. I don't know if that's true or not. And what I would ask you is there anything else that Democrats have access to in this case that they're not sharing with Republicans on this committee? And Mr. Chairman, how would you have reacted if, say, during the Kavanaugh confirmation, the White House shared judicial materials with Republicans and did not share it with Democrats? I'm pretty confident you would have expressed extraordinary displeasure at that.
If I recall, there was some discovery issues in the Kavanaugh case involving several years of his performance in the White House, which your own counsel decided we couldn't.
But sure, that's disclosure to the whole committee.
Yes,
and in this case, is there anything else that Democrats have access to of Judge Jackson's record that you have not shared with Republicans on this committee, and in particular, the pre-sentence reports?
No,
I suspect if they were helpful, you would have made them public, so the fact that you haven't raises an inference that they're not helpful to the case you're making.
Senator, you will always draw your own inferences, and I know where most of them head. I will just tell you that the information that we received from the White House, I'm told everyone had access to if they wanted it. And now you have it just a matter of hours after we've received it. Exactly.
So is there anything else Democrats have that Republicans do not from Judge Jackson's record?
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question about this? I want to be sure I understand. The handout that I just saw, the White House gave to some of us earlier today, but not all of us?
It was available, I'm told. The information was available to anyone who requested it. The White House...
So you had to be clairvoyant and know they had it?
No, not clairvoyance. I think it's pretty obvious, Senator.
How would you know to request it?
You would know it after Senator Hawley launched his attack on the judge. At that point, all of this information became relevant to countering...
So I would be expected to say, geez, after Senator Hawley asked questions, I better call the White House and see if they can help me research this? That's not realistic.
No, that's not the point. The point I'm getting to is, and you know as a good lawyer, what you do during discovery. I wasn't aware of the fact that this was available. The White House requested it, received it. We asked for a copy, and within an hour or two, you received the same copy.
When did y'all get, let me finish. When did y'all get your copy?
Sometime today.
Sometime today. That covers a lot of ground, Richard.
I don't have any personal knowledge of this. I'll be honest with you.
You don't have any personal what?
Knowledge.
Does your staff?
Does your staff know?
I haven't.
They're standing behind you.
I've talked to them earlier. And
Mr. Chairman, I'm so sorry. I just don't want to make this a partisan issue if it doesn't have to be. My staff just says we just got it 10 minutes ago as well, so I'm very upset. I joined Ted Cruz.
Good.
Mr. Chairman.
That's an alliance that's well known.
Yes, yes.
Mr. Chairman, I do think it's significant. We've had now referenced some pre-sentence reports, and we've got this material that references recommendations made by the Office of Adult Probation and Parole.
Reports.
Well, okay, but we've got critical information that is contained within them. The recommendation made by the Office of Adult Probation and Parole in these cases is something that's drawn from the pre-sentence report. It seems to me that if we're going to have a jot-for-jot selective incorporation of information in there, we ought to have access to the whole report. So I respectfully request that we be given access to these reports. They've been made now by a member of the committee in reliance on information that we haven't had access to, and I think we need to be given those. You can't.
Senator, I'd like to draw this to a conclusion. I can tell you what I know. And
well, so would I.
More. And here's the point. Most of this information was published in the Washington Post 5 days ago. All right? This is not confidential information. When the Hawley attack on the judge started, we requested more information. The White House did. And then shared it with us within the day, and you now have the same copy that we have. End of story.
Is it fair for you to characterize Senator Hawley's questions or the questions raised by any of us as an attack? It's not a personal attack. This is
let me just tell you,
we've raised a legitimate question regarding
Our difference
sentencing
of
regarding the
opinion-
most heinous crimes imaginable.
Oh, come on.
So these are legitimate questions, Mr. Chairman. Don't call them attacks.
Well, I can just tell you, I have characterized them as attacks and other things as well. I think it's pretty clear what's going on here, and now you have all the information we have.
So,
Is
Mr.
that
Chairman,
enough?
for example, in the questioning about the Hawkins case, Judge Jackson said she relied on the factors, relied on probation's recommendation. We just found out, in what you just handed us, that in the Hawkins case, the probation office recommended 18 months, and Judge Jackson only sentenced him to 3 months. That's you can get more than that almost for a speeding ticket. And
Senator-
this committee, given that she raised it as the basis for her sentence, it is highly relevant to the committee's analysis to see what the pre-sentence report says. Why did the probation office recommend 18 months and she only sentenced to 3 months?
March 19th, Washington Post. In the case of U.S. versus Hawkins, a sex offender had multiple images of child porn over 18. Sentencing guidelines called for sentence up to 10 years. Judge Jackson sentenced the perpetrator to only 3 months in prison. Printed.
Those facts we knew. It's the
Yeah.
probation recommendation. We don't dispute that the guidelines said 10 years and she sentenced him to 3 months.
Sorry, I didn't finish reading it. The government and probation both recommended sentences well below the guidelines. The government recommended 24 months, probation recommended 18 months, and defense recommended 1 day. I'm telling you, it was published in a newspaper. Now,
Well, I can't help what is leaked to the newspaper or not. This committee, you keep referencing discovery. This is not litigation. This is a committee of the United States Senate where both sides of the aisle have a right to access to the record, and we're carrying out our constitutional duty of advice and
I will
consent.
tell you this, for some reason your side didn't request the information.
But how would we know to request? So I'm hereby requesting all other information you magically have that you haven't told us you have and you're not sharing with
So
the other
noted.
side.
So noted, for the record. We'll continue with the questioning now.
And we're
Senator
requesting
Cotton.
the pre-sentence reports in particular, which are highly relevant to the issues before
Senator
this
Cotton,
committee.
please proceed. We don't have any pre-sentence reports.